It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast, so let's kick off this edition, the Thursday, August 8th edition of the Vancouver Power BI Modern Excel User Group Meetup. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit of Copilot once we've got through our normal welcome and overview, which we're going to jump into right now. So the first big thing here I want to always throw out is a big thanks to the sponsors that make this possible. SkillWave is the training company that I run with my partner, Matt Allington, where we teach you to learn, we teach you awesome techniques around working with Excel and Power BI. If you haven't checked out our training, you definitely should. Excel Guru is the parent company of SkillWave and also the creator and distributor of the Monkey Tools Excel add-in to help you build better data models faster. Our next meetups that we have coming up in a couple of weeks, we've got Alejandra Horvath is going to be coming to be talking to us about using M in Power Query. So that's going to be pretty awesome. That is going to be at our regular 5 p.m. Pacific time slot. And then a couple of weeks after that, on Thursday, September 5th, we're going to be having an early start to this one because we've got Mike Thomas, who is going to be joining us from England to talk about cube functions in Excel. So we've got a couple of great pieces of content coming up with Excel and Power Query here, which of course works in both Excel and Power BI, among other places. So those are open for RSVPs. So if you're interested in those, please do sign up now. Just want to remind folks as well, for those of you who maybe haven't started with Monkey Tools, or if you are using Monkey Tools and want to learn more about it, we now have a free Using Monkey Tools course on SkillWave, which gives you lifetime access to the videos, the ability to download the files that we're using for samples and whatnot. And we'll even talk to you through installing the free version on your computer. So if you're interested in that, definitely register for the course. We've got 100 and some odd people already diving in on that one and some great reviews already. I think you'll find that this tool can truly change your game if you're working with Excel. Speaking of Monkey Tools, we pushed a new release on August 6th, which has some updates to BiblioMonkey. We've added some replacement tags now for Excel tables and columns to go with your DAX and Power Query and all the other ones that we had there. So that's kind of nice. You can actually tag those in for formulas. We've got a new refresh button to reload workbook updates. This was a user request from one of my colleagues who said, look, I'm changing things in Excel and I need the BiblioMonkey to respect that right away. So we gave the ability to do that. And you can also now include apostrophe or quote characters in your prompts that you're using, and that won't error out on you. So a few little things there. We've also added an important import monkey update, which will now load empty data model tables when you are importing a file from backup or another workbook if the data source is inaccessible. Previously, it used to error out. So this now allows you to get through and then go back and figure out why your data is not loading, but we can still build the entire data model for you. And in addition, of course, there's always bug fixes that go into every release of Monkey Tools. Once again, if you're interested in learning the course on it, you can find that here. My Excel Fundamentals Academy, the next kickoff date, kicks off on August 15th, which I think is about a week from today. If you're looking for a great course to help you fill in knowledge gaps, get comfortable with your formulas, learn pivot tables, data validations, and Power or data visualizations and Power Query, you should definitely check this out. It comes with all the coaching that we have in my Ask Ken Anything sessions. You got a year's worth of access to all the information that goes in here, and it can be extended as well at your option. If you're interested, you should definitely check this out, or maybe you have somebody in your organization that needs to upskill. It's a fantastic program. It comes with coaching to make that life a little easier. And if you're already comfortable with pivot tables, you might want to check out our Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy. This is my premier training program where we look at Excel and Power Query and Power BI, building a full story of data from end to end, teaching you to use the best tool for the best scenario. Because guess what? Not every job is an Excel job, nor is every job a Power BI job. So we teach you how to use these tools as well as which one to use when, and what the strengths and weaknesses of each are. There's over 40 hours of training and coaching in here. You get access to my Ask Ken Anything sessions, my books, my software, all kinds of great stuff. If you're interested, you should definitely check that out as well. This meetup, along with all meetups, is recorded and hosted on the SkillWave YouTube channel. It takes me about 24 to 48 hours to get this process, so give me a couple of business days. Once it is ready, we will post on the meetup site, so you will get a notification if you registered that this was recorded, at which point you can go and rewatch all the fantastic content that is in here. And then finally, my last slide that I want to talk about here is that if you'd like to get involved and come and speak to our user group, we would love to have you. You can fill out the little survey here. By the way, all these links are in the PDF, which has already been uploaded to the Meetup site. But if you're interested in coming to speak to us, we would love to have you here. Fill out the survey. We'll get in touch with you and we'll get you on our show. And that's it for me, David. I'm out of things to say here, so I'm hoping that you've got some cool stuff to talk to us about
Yeah, let's
related
go.
to our topic of interest in Copilot today.
Wow, thank you for having me, Ken. It was great actually discovering what all of you are doing because we don't know each other that much. But
No,
welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Dave, David Fortin. I live in Quebec City, in Canada. And feel free to hit me up in the chat. Tell me where you're from, and let's get going. I swear we're going to have a really packed session here. I'm sharing my screen. You should be able to see everything. So welcome to Modern Excel with Dave. Dave is me, if you didn't notice. And we're going to have fun today because we're going to talk about Microsoft Copilot, which is the brand new thing, right? The new kid on the block, along with myself as well. Like, so this is my motto: learn Excel the modern way. So what modern way means? It means a lot of things, like just, I love to make Excel really fun. And this is me. I'm a chartered professional accountant, and I go by Piggy Bank Accountant on my YouTube channel. So I do YouTube full time. Spoiler alert. Feel free to ask any question in the chat at any time. Sometime I might be staring at the wrong camera. Okay, I have two of them. And when I was actually rehearsing, practicing to give you the best content, I was watching here. So bear with me here, but feel free to ask any question in the chat. I'll try to answer as we go. So why are we here? That's probably the most interesting question here, because this is job offers on the internet for prompt engineers. This is from Google. And the goal today is not that you become a prompt engineer, but it is that you understand that AI is here and it is here to stay. So here is a job from Shift Labs, which I don't know, but they offer 70 to 150K a year for a prompt engineer. What is a prompt engineer? Someone that, engineer the prompts, basically. So a prompt is a question that you ask to AI. Most of you have probably used ChatGPT. So a prompt is when you ask the question to the tool, basically. So now I hope you're convinced to stay until the end of this presentation or webinar, call it whatever you like. And here is why you should be interested in what I'm going to talk today. It's because Microsoft invested 13 billion in generative AI. And when we say generative AI, we talk about Copilot. So we have Copilot everywhere. We have Jason here. What's up, Jason? And so yeah, basically, feel free to turn on your camera. By the way, I love speaking to people that I see. Yeah, he's back. Here we go. So I love feeling not being alone here in my little office. So feel free to turn on your camera. And here we go. So yeah, Copilot, they invested $13 billion in this and counting, of course. So that's why we need to learn it, because I think honestly it's here to stay. I hope, because that's what I do for a living. All right, so let's get going. So before we dive deep into the topic, who am I? I am. Oh, we have someone here. Okay, there we go. So who am I? I'm David Fortin. I'm a chartered professional accountant, and I just want to give you a little bit of background on me. And so here is me face when I was actually a little bit younger in 2016, when I started my career as a chartered professional accountant in a Big Four accounting firm. I was serving construction clients and clients in the financial services field, and then I was working very long hours on Microsoft Excel. So you are in good hands today, and this is me taking the plane, going to my clients and doing very, very long hours, of course. So this is where I started my career. Then I switched my gear a little bit. As you can see, I have my bandana ready to go all in my Excel spreadsheets, and I was actually doing FP&A, financial planning analysis, for a big video game company where I was managing the budget of the video games that were more than $200 million. And a lot of it was, once again, Excel and modeling and all of this fun stuff. Okay. This is me getting a little bit more serious. I swapped to a SaaS, software as a service company, a little bit later in my career, where my first project was actually to raise $30 million in venture capital Series B fundraising, where I did this fundraising with my boss here, Felix, which I say hi. He's probably not here today, but still, he taught me a lot of things, and with the whole team, of course. So that was my first project. So really, really, I learned a lot of Excel there. And then we sold this company. I played a key role in this sale of the company for $200 million, which is a huge exit here in Quebec City. So here we go. That's not bragging. It's just I'm telling you that you are in good hands. I know Excel a little bit, and now my new life is that I make YouTube videos. So I go by the piggy bank accounting, and most of my videos are actually on Excel, but most of them are on Copilot lately because I think this is the future of work. And in the middle here, as you can see, this is my most watched video, which is a 42-minute tutorial on Microsoft Copilot, watched by more than 25,000 people for more than 3,000 hours. That's a lot of time that you spend with me. Hopefully this webinar will only last 60 minutes, not 3,000 hours. Okay. And I have, of course, I teach here for a local school in Quebec. I teach Microsoft Excel mostly, and I teach on Udemy as well. And last week, actually, I want you to tell me thank you, good job in the chat, not thank you, but good job in the chat. I got Microsoft MVP for the first time. I'm really proud of this. And here we go, the first of many, many others. All right, so here we go. Enough talking about me, guys. This was the boring stuff. Now let's get to the fun part, okay? All right, so what's today? Today we're going to talk a little bit about Copilot. I want to set the table because I know lots of people don't know about it. They're not really used to it. They're afraid. They don't know where to start when it comes to this. So we'll do a really quick introduction of what it is. Then I'm going to show you the importance of the prompt. Just before you guys were arriving, Ken and I were actually talking how it's actually so important to talk to this tool, like know how to, because you're going to get a lot of different results if you don't know how to. So I'm going to try to teach you a little bit how to do it, right? Thank you, Danica, in the chat. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to show you what you can do with the free version of Copilot in Excel. So with the chatbot, how you can achieve some results in Microsoft Excel. And as you might know or not know, you have a Copilot in Excel Pro version, which is something that you need to buy. It's 20 US per month. And then it adds a button into your Excel to assist you with different formulas or different function or analysis that I will show you in this webinar, of course. And then I made a little surprise for you guys, which is we're going to go a little bit away from Copilot, but I still want to show you modern Excel. So when we say modern Excel, it's all about AI and all those new things coming up in Excel. So I want to show you what I'm doing for a living, and I think there is pretty cool stuff coming up. Q&A, yes and no. You can ask your question as we go. We'll see how this goes, but feel free, guys, if you have any question, I'll try to monitor the chat as we go, okay? All right, so let's get started. So I just want to take a few minutes to speak of the difference between the ChatGPT and Copilot. What is the international availability of Excel Pro with Copilot? We have a question in the chat. I'm not too sure. I know it's available in multiple countries. I don't know which country you're in. If you can type this in the chat, and then maybe we can have someone that verify this. But that's a super great question, actually. So ChatGPT versus Copilot. First, we have Copilot to the left here, which is this symbol here. And it's really important to say that it's called Microsoft Copilot, because there are a lot of different versions of Copilot. And at Microsoft, anything that has AI into it is called a Copilot. So you have Copilot in finance, you have Copilot for sales, you have Copilot in Excel, you have Copilot Edge. So today we're going to talk about Microsoft Copilot. And then to the right here, we have ChatGPT, right? And one fun fact that I think is cool is that Microsoft Copilot, well, is founded by Microsoft, which you probably all know, right? Windows, Excel, etc. But, you know, I just learned actually that OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is co-founded by Elon Musk. Holy cow, this guy is everywhere, right? So I just learned that. That's a fun fact. But what's the difference between the two tools, right? So these tools run from a LLM. What is a LLM? A LLM is a large language model, okay? We won't get too technical today, but let's say it's a dictionary. It's a big dictionary that was fed a lot of information, and the difference between those two tools is that ChatGPT, the free version of it, is running on a slower version of the dictionary, let's say it like that, less memory, and this one here, Copilot, is faster, stronger. But you know what's inception is that these two LLMs, those two large language models, were developed by OpenAI. So it's a partnership between the two companies, and actually Copilot or Microsoft are renting this GPT-4 from ChatGPT. Cool story, but let me keep going here. The things are different. Then there is a knowledge limit of these tools, okay? And this is subject to change, of course, but when you ask a question to Copilot, Copilot is web-based. It means that it is grounded on the web, which means that it uses Microsoft Bing, so the Google of Microsoft, let's say, to make a search on the internet, while ChatGPT is not the case, right? Right now, if you go to ChatGPT and you never used it, you're going to be able to ask a question, but only for a few prompts. Because you're going to be on the GPT 4.0, which is like a newer version of ChatGPT. But then after 10 questions, let's say, it's going to downgrade you to GPT 3.5, and it won't have access to internet anymore. So that's the main difference between the two tools. If you don't pay for Copilot, you have access web-based to internet. If you don't pay for ChatGPT, only for a few questions. Okay, super simple. But the main difference, though, and I don't want to get too deep on the security here, and I know, okay, this presentation is all about Copilot and Excel. We'll get there, don't worry, but we need to set the table first. The main difference, I think, it's in my opinion, is the security, okay? I don't know any company right now that will take their data and will put it in ChatGPT, okay? I don't know any company, even though ChatGPT or OpenAI, they have a policy, they tell you your data is safe, blah, blah, blah. I think way many more companies trust Microsoft. And Microsoft, what they're saying right now is that your data is safe because it is in the Microsoft Graph, and we have your same commercial data protection that you have with SharePoint and everything. Don't take me for granted for this, okay? I don't work for Microsoft. If you don't want your things to leak, make sure you read everything. You call your IT department, okay? But what I'm saying right now is that Microsoft, they tell you that it's safe, but once again, make sure you read everything. So that's why I put security here with the two eyes of ChatGPT. We're not too sure, and we know it's actually the first concern of every company. They're not too sure to use these tools, and you have to go to your legal and IT department, okay? The second difference, and I think that's where it moves the needle, and that's where we're going to be in the future, is that Microsoft Copilot, when you pay for the Pro version, it unlocks the ability to have the Copilot symbol in your app. So you don't always have to switch between your internet browser and your favorite Microsoft 365 apps. And here you go, you have it in Outlook, Word, OneNote, PowerPoint, and Excel. And for ChatGPT, I just put some crickets there because no, it's not integrated in your 365 apps. One thing though, and I'm going to touch base on this a little bit later, is that you can take a spreadsheet, and if you're not worried about the confidential data, you know, when I do my personal budget, I don't care about my confidential data. You can upload a spreadsheet to ChatGPT, but once again, this is the paid version of ChatGPT, but you have a few free prompts that you can do with. I'll tell about this a little bit later. So I hope you understand the difference. If you have any question on this, feel free to ask it in the chat, okay? Now it is demo time, okay? And I want to show you something, and basically it's going to be Copilot, which is a symbol here, in Excel. So we're going to go to copilot.microsoft.com, and I will freestyle right now for you guys, okay? I will open Google Chrome, and here we go. I have Copilot, and I'm going to ask it. So there you go, copilot.microsoft.com. This is the interface that you have. You have all my recent chat history here. And this is at the middle here. This is where you ask any question. You just log in with your Microsoft account. I don't know, maybe some of you never used it. Fair enough. And I'm going to ask Copilot, could you give me the best 10 Excel functions? Okay. And then I'm going to press enter. Super basic question. Going to make it a little bit bigger for you guys. And Copilot go. He's like, okay, sure. Here are the 10 essential Excel functions, and it keeps going. You know, it took me 2 seconds, and it gave me, in his opinion, the 10 best Excel function. But for me, it's probably not the best Excel functions, right? And then I don't want to freestyle like this the whole time because AI is unpredictable, and I asked this question a few minutes ago and it didn't give me the same answer. It depends how the AI feel, what did it eat for dinner and stuff like that. So I'll go back to my PowerPoint because I prepared some information for you to make the best content out there. So here we go. I took some screenshots of the first time I asked this question to Copilot. And again, this is where I'm trying to tell you how to prompt and why it's important, and hopefully you will understand why. So this is the question I asked to Copilot. Can you give me the 10 best Excel function? We have the sum, the average, if, blah, 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 and then that's it, right? Cool, fair enough. But here's what Copilot told me. At the end here on my cursor, do you have a specific task in mind that you need help with? Copilot is even telling me, hey dude, or hey woman, you're not really specific here, right? So here we go. That's what I did. I asked Copilot, I actually added some context, and that's so important. If you're using AI right now, any tool, ChatGPT or Copilot, make sure you give context. Talk to this tool like you were talking to your own kid, and you don't want it to mess. You want it to have it right. So that's the same thing. So let's read it together a little bit. Could you give me the 10 best Excel functions and formulas for an accountant? I'm an accountant. I work in a video game company. I am a junior accountant, and I am a beginner to intermediate in Excel. Most of my tasks, I give Copilot some context. I reconcile data, I merge lists, I perform budget versus actual analysis, I make forecasts, and I also analyze financial statements. There you can tell that I'm really an accountant, right? And I want to highlight the difference I got from my first prompt versus this prompt. And this is why it's so important to actually know a little bit how to prompt. The Copilot gave me the sum ifs function, which it didn't give me the first time, right? Which makes a lot of sense for someone that is intermediate in Excel. Copilot gave me the VLOOKUP function at the second, which is something it gave me already, but it gave me the index match function, which it didn't give me the first time. If I keep going, it gave me, I think, the most important difference between my first prompt and this one. It gave me a little bit more on pivot tables. And it didn't tell me a little more on the pivot tables, but I could have asked Copilot, hey, I never did pivot tables. I need a pivot table to do a budget versus actuals analysis. Could you tell me how step by step? And then I will have entered my prompt, press enter, and boom, I will have add my detailed step-by-step guide, right? We have a question from Reen, VLOOKUP instead of XLOOKUP. Yes, this time it gave me this, but as you can see, if I go back to my Copilot, when I just asked my question, it gave me XLOOKUP this time. So it's a little bit unpredictable. It depends. At this time of the day, it chose VLOOKUP instead of XLOOKUP. So that's why AI actually changes sometimes. So that's not actually how to use Copilot in Excel that I'm showing you right now. It's just the importance of prompting and how it can impact your results, right? And we'll have more info on this a little bit later as well. All right, so here we go. So that was Copilot free. That was Copilot, just how to prompt. Now I want to show you the Copilot in Excel for free. So this is actually this is actually one of my YouTube video, and I will send Ken a whole list of videos that I have on the topic. So in the notes of this PowerPoint, I have a link to my full video, which is what I'll show you right now. But if you want to have the long version, I can send you the link. I will have everything detailed in the follow-up email. So basically, I did this video because a lot of people were not happy of they were paying Copilot Pro, and I wanted to see how far we could go with the actual free version of Copilot. And I kept actually discussing with the AI, if we can say it like that. And here we go. I want to show you something. So this is a video I made on YouTube, and actually that's a real use case. Okay, I got a friend of mine, he's a CPA. He called me, and sometimes people are really advanced in Excel, but most people are beginner, intermediate, and they use it to do some really basic spreadsheets. So it's my friend Sebastian. He called me. He's like, Dave, I need help with Excel. And what he wanted to do is actually he wanted to show his boss. And I'm going to go through here. I'm going to hit play on this video. And he wanted to show his boss here the the orange date, he wanted to swap the date and that it will do a sum depending on the dates, right? So super simple. You could just, do a sum ifs. But what if you only wanted to actually take the mapping that is in the column A and do a sum in the blue cell, right? And I'm good in Excel and I could have kept going because I had an idea of how to do that, right? I was like, oh, maybe it's somewhere like sum ifs mixed with an index match. But I was like, I'm not a fan of index match. I always use XLOOKUP, and I was like, I'm not too sure. Like, I'm not too sure if XLOOKUP could actually fix that. So my first reflex, was actually to ask someone. And then I was like, wait, why don't I ask AI, right? To explain actually what I want. So I hope it's clear here. I actually want to make the sum in the blue cells depending on the date of these mappings, right? And what I wanted is actually if I add a month of July and add some more mappings here, let's say I will have other animals such as birds or parrots or whatever, or whales, then I will just have to add this here and then just drag my formula down and just keep going, right? So this is actually the intro to the use case Copilot in Excel for free. And I want to show you how I actually got to my result. And I think you're going to learn here a lot of things. So at the top here, we have my Excel, and if you have really great eyes right now because you can't really zoom, you'll see my end result at the top. But there you go. Here is my interaction with AI, and you'll see the level of details that you need to have with the AI. For some people that are really experienced in Excel, you will tell me, oh, I guess it will have been faster for me to do it, without asking AI. But for me, I didn't know the solution at the time. So I went in and actually asked AI. So here we go. And you can excuse my bad English. My main language is French. So I was like, hi, I want to have a summary of my data. The main goal is to change a single date. So the date here in orange, and it gives me the right sum of the column that this date is located. My data is as follows. In column A, I have my mappings. As you can see here in column A, I have my mappings. For now, my mappings are cats and dogs, and they have multiple occurrences. So I knew that the solution was somewhere around index match or sum ifs. So I was like, which means I can't use the index match function because it will give me back only one value. And then I told to AI in column B, C, and D, I have my dates. The main goal to change one date in cell G2. Actually, on this screenshot, it's H2. And it is going to give me back the sums of the values, my dates, column B, C, and D. As I told you, more specifically, my headers are starting B3 to D3. It's probably the worst prompt I could have done because I was in a rush and I didn't actually take time to align my English pretty well since it's not my main language. But you know what? The result was actually pretty interesting. So here we go. This is the result. So Copilot here actually just gave me based on your description, and it just repeated the whole thing that I told him. But here's the interesting part. It gave me this. Here's an example of how you can do this. And in my mind, it's not really what I wanted here because as you can see, it has a sum ifs with the B column, which is my month of April, a sum ifs with my month of May, and a sum ifs with my month of June, right? And that's not really what I wanted. That's really not what I wanted. I wanted one formula that I could drag and drop, right? And then that's what I told to AI. I told it, I would love to have only one function that will use both sum ifs and index match and change which sum it gives me based on the date located in the cell H2 here, right? So here we go. AI just told me, sure, you can achieve this by using a combination of index match and sum ifs. Here's how you can do it. And I tell you, this is really important. You need to give feedback to AI. Some people say, and Ken was saying that just before we started this meeting, is like, I feel like I'm arguing with AI a lot of times. So yes, you need to send the AI the right direction, and it is the most important part of everything, the prompting. As you can see, I got into such a level of details. And once again, if you're an Excel expert, I don't think that is going to help you a lot. But if you're just beginning and you know where you're going, if you know the path, to the solution, you can actually send direction to AI. And that's actually how I use AI in Excel. And you know what? I actually copy pasted this whole thing, and then AI gave me a few indications. So I really suggest that you read every step. Don't skip any, especially if you're not that amazing in Excel. So you read everything, and then it just tells you, hey, you can just replace your cell F3. And I actually copy pasted that, and I was actually flabbergasted that it actually worked almost the first time. And it took me, I don't know, 5 minutes. No lie, not gonna lie. 5 minutes, and it was a question of my friend. I sent him the solution. I recorded a loom. I sent him, and it was like, Dave, you just saved me like something I was trying to do for like a few days. So that was cool. And look at this, how flabbergasted I was. Look at my face. This is a flabbergasted guy right here, right? So tell me in the chat what you think about this. Is this something new for you? Do you see anything useful in this? So feel free to actually give me your feedback on that. All right. So now let's get into Copilot in Excel Pro. And I did something crazy for you guys. Copilot Pro, just for the record, you need to pay for it, right? You need to pay 20 USD per month if you're using the individual version of the thing. If you're using the business version, it's 30 US per user per month to unlock the Copilot into the Microsoft 365 apps, including Microsoft Excel. So first, I want to introduce you to the data set, okay? Because the data set is actually what we're going to use for the rest of this presentation. So it's really important that you have it in mind. And I did what I do best. Of course, I do videos. So I made a video especially for you today, guys, to introduce you the Dave's Coffee Shop. So here we are. There's no sound on my computer, but this is Dave's Coffee Shop. Here we go. I want to introduce the coffee, the data set real quick. So we are going to swap over to Excel in a few seconds here, but I want to introduce the data real quick, right? So I have made some data that is kind of representative, I think, of a small business. So it's not like 300,000 lines, but like 1,800 lines of data. So not only like the typical 5 to 10 lines that you will see in an Excel video, and then when you try it on your own machine, it doesn't work. So Copilot can actually treat a lot of information, and it's got way better since it came out, by the way. And I want to introduce you the data because it's going to be important to the rest of the presentation. So first in the column A, we have the dates, and this is sales data. Okay, I run a coffee shop. I'm a barista, Dave the barista, and then we have the dates, the sell dates, we have the products. So we sell whole beans, latte, cappuccino. We have the sales amount. We have the region where we operate, so rural, uptown, suburban, whatever. And then we have our salesperson, Mocha Mike, Latte Larry. These are the best in town. We have our department, and then some other information such as the customer satisfaction score and the number of items sold. Right? So now let's get into Excel, and I'll show you what you can do if you pay for the Copilot in Excel, and you tell me if it's worth the money, right? So you should still see my screen here, and boom, I have the data set right here. Here we go, and there you go. So I am in my workbook, and I have two tabs, okay? So this first tab is the tab I showed you with the 1.8K line, and then I have another tab, which is my employee ID. So you see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to maybe bring them over, but I won't spoil you, right? So I'll go back here on my coffee shop sales data, and the first thing you need to do with Copilot is to actually make sure you have your data as a table, okay? This is really important. Copilot, or Microsoft, I should say, are actually rolling out right now that your data doesn't need to be set as a table, but it's still, it's not the best. I will really advise that you work with tables. Anyway, I'm sure Ken is a real fan of table, and it should be everywhere, right? So basically, if you don't know how to transform your data in a table, I'll do this really quick because this is not a table course. You just click onto insert, and you click on table here. So it's going to transform your data. Else, if you want the keyboard shortcut, you press on Control T, such as Control Table on your keyboard, and then you're going to transform your data as a table in a second. To know if it has worked, you can click here. You see that there is a button here, Table Design at the top. And here you go. We have a question in the chat. I'm going to take this in a few minutes, okay? Here we go. So here we go. We have a table, and then I'm going to go back in the Home tab, okay? So I have my Copilot button. So when I pay for it's maybe small for you guys. I'm sorry. I know with Teams, sometimes sharing the screen is small, but you have a button here, okay? On my cursor. And when you click on this, poof, you have the Copilot that pops, right? And then you have different functions. And the goal today is not to go through all of these functions. I know, like I really want to show you what you're able to do in modern Excel on top of like Copilot, not only Copilot, right? So you can add a formula, you can understand your data, you can highlight some cells, and then I want to show you what they actually just added, which once again, if you're an Excel beginner, it's actually great. If you're someone that is really experienced in Excel, I don't think it's worth it. But what I will want to do right now is actually bring my employee IDs here in the column J that I have in my other tab, right? It's something that I would love to do. So I am going in the chat and I'm going to ask Copilot, I'm going to say, could you bring over my employee IDs? They are located in tab employee ID in the table 2, right? And then I told you earlier, you should be really specific with your prompt. And this prompt that you see right here, you maybe don't see it because it's too small. There you go. Is probably the worst prompt I could have done, right? Because it's not really detailed. It doesn't say, hey, my salesperson is in column E, and then, but you know what? Let's try it like that. And one thing that is really important right now, Copilot is still in preview mode, so it's still really like early in the process. If I will go on this employee ID table and I will hit send here, it will not work. Make sure that you are on the table that you actually want the action to be done. So let's try it and hopefully it works, right? That's the beauty with AI. It never works as intended when you're doing your presentation, right? Uh, so it's loading a little bit. I'm going to take a sip. Boom, and here we go. We have a Copilot that tells me, looking at your data range, here's one formula column to review and insert in column J. Let me repeat here. Here's a formula column to review. Okay, guys? Because AI is really early and it does a lot of mistakes. So please don't go there and add the column without checking the formula. Make sure the formula makes sense. So Copilot actually explained what it did. It said it matches each salesperson name with their corresponding employee ID from the employee ID table, table 2 in parentheses, to provide a clear reference to employee responsible for each sales. And here we go. We have the function equal X lookup. And then if you click here, you have the show explanation. Yes, Ken, it offered an X lookup, right? I'm going to get you on the AI side, Ken, right? Because Ken is not an AI advocate. Let's say it like that. So I love being here to prove him wrong a little bit. And here you go. You have the explanation. So it explains the formula. I won't go into too much details here. And then you can just, when you mouse over, it's going to show you the column J. And when you click, boom, you have your X lookup, and it said done. I inserted employee ID to column J, and as you can see, these three guys here, it's Cappuccino Catty, our best seller, and here we go, ID 0123 here. So it did what we wanted, and let's double check because I don't trust AI, and AI does whatever. We have here Java Joe, which is our worst performer, 0666, the number of the beast, and here we go, 0666, and of course I can go in the formula bar and actually have a look, or my function bar or whatever it's called, and I can actually have a look at what it did. So I think that's pretty cool. Still really early, in the process of Copilot, and let's see what Copilot can do other than that, right? So I'm going to go back at my top here at my data, and I'm going to click on these pre-built prompt, right? I'm going to click on show data insights. And again, I could write anything here. I'm just going to click on this just to show you guys. I don't know if how much you play with the tool, and some things are cool, some things are really boring, I think. And here we go. Okay, doesn't look that good, right? It told me the average of number items sold by date. I'm going to click on add to new sheet. Click on that. And imagine if I bring this to my boss, right? He's gonna scratch his head. What can we get from insights, on this? So, AI isn't always perfect, and it gave me this. But I want to show you something else. I'll go back to the coffee shop sales, and I will just click on this one. Add all insights to grid. And I think this one, again, for a beginner, for an analyst that doesn't know the data, doesn't know like what it should show, we can click on that, add all insights to grid, and see like it was fast, right? It took me like a click, 1 second, and it gave me this first chart here, which was the worst chart that I've seen ever, but it gave me something interesting here, the sales amount by employee ID, right? So this chart here is actually something that we could want. My boss wants me to tell him who's the best employee, and it's ID 0144. He even blurred the name, right? Didn't give me by name, but gave me the employee ID. So that's one thing that is cool. It gave me this customer satisfaction score here, and it even told me that it was relatively even across the salesperson. Here we go. Maybe not the best chart, but it gave me two completely useless charts. But again, I used the prompt. I just click on add all data insights, right? And it gave me this one here, which is the same, the orange here, which is the same, but with the employee ID instead of the salesperson, right? And then at the bottom, it gave me all of the sources, all of the pivot charts. So if you didn't want the employee ID, but you wanted the employee's name, salesperson instead, you could just change it here, and it will change your pivot chart because it's linked. So it gave all your data. So I think in a click, it's pretty cool. But let's see what else it could do, right? I'll ask Copilot, could you do a sales analysis year over year by region, please? Okay, we'll see. My prompt again was not really detailed, versus what I showed you. And I want to see the results pretty quick. Once again, it took like 3 seconds. And I will click on add to new sheet, and boom, once again, I have this chart. I don't think it's really cute. I'm just going to go here in my design, change the chart type and put it as a column. And here we go. We can see really quick that my downtown region, which is the blue bar here, I'm going to put it in pink so you guys see better, is actually the one that went down from 2023 to 2024. Maybe you don't see these guys here. There you go. And cool, right? And then we can act on this, and we can click on 2023, filter it out, and it's a pivot chart that it made. So it's all linked together, right? So I think that's pretty cool. I won't go any deeper in Copilot in Excel. I just wanted to show you a few of the features. I'm actually talking to Microsoft quite often, and they are improving this tool. Before, when it released, it wasn't even possible to do XLOOKUP, and now we can. So pretty cool, I think, for people just beginning in Excel and actually lost with all these options at the top. Let me know what you think about this in the chat. We have a question. I'm just going to take it. Is it trained on interaction with all users, or its experience with the individual user weighted more in the training? To answer your question, I don't think you're training the AI by asking any question. So let's say I ask for XLOOKUP and I keep prompting saying, hey, it's not the XLOOKUP I wanted. Whenever I reopen an Excel the other day, it won't remember what what I actually asked the other day. If that was your question, not sure if I'm answering, but it's not there yet. We're not feeding the AI tool, just like you will be updating your memory on ChatGPT right now, right? Okay, so let's get back to the presentation here. And yeah, so that was Copilot in Excel for the Pro version. And I want to show you something else. I want to bring it to the extra mile. We have a wall of text in the chat. I will take the question in a few seconds, okay? Let me finish here. I won't be that long. So here we go. So I wanted to show you something really cool. I wanted to go the extra mile because yes, it's modern Excel, but I want to show you something else. So this is actually the mystery section that was blurred at the beginning. I want to show you some sales dashboard that I made with AI and Excel data. Once again, as you can see here, it is the same data as I showed you, my coffee shop here. my coffee data. So it is this data that we're going to keep using. So the first thing is we're actually going to go in ChatGPT, right? And I'm going to do it live with you guys here. So I have prepared something. And the only thing I did, okay, is I created, I'm going to go here. I clicked here, boom. And this is with the paid version of ChatGPT. For the records, I'm using the ChatGPT 4.0. But as I said earlier, you have like 10 free prompts every day for this. But now you can upload your data. I talked about data security. If you have confidential data, you don't trust OpenAI, you don't trust ChatGPT, don't do this, okay? For my coffee data, it's fine. I'm the best barista in town. They can steal my data anytime, okay? So you click here when you open a new prompt on ChatGPT, and you click on upload from computer or wherever your file is, and then you just go select your data set, okay? And then I'll go back to something I already prepared, boom. And then this is the prompt that I said. So I said, we are a coffee shop and here is the sales data of 2 years. So I actually explained all of my data, the year 2023 and 2024. And I said, I'd like to make a sales analysis. The goal is to have the most common question answered, such as which are the best product in terms of sales, which salesperson are the best, what is the trend of the sales, a quarterly analysis, a year-over-year analysis, and I will also like to know if you could detect any trend. Make sure you add any additional insights that could be useful for the management team, right? And this is actually my prompt that, by the way, just to let you know, I tried this prompt in Copilot. I copy pasted it, boom, in Excel here, and it didn't work, okay? It told me I can't do this or something like that, okay? So just for the record, complete transparent here. And here we go. Here's the result. And I think it's interesting, okay? It gave me the total sales per product, fair enough, and the total sales per person. But it didn't split them year by year, right? So it combined 2023 and 2024. So that was a little meh. It gave me some empty charts for some reason. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to look at here, but here we go. Okay, we have something a little bit more interesting here. It did a year-over-year sales comparison. So as you can see, I have my 2023 data and I have my 2024 data. And the only thing that I wasn't really happy with here is the color scheme it used. As you can see, we're not too sure if this one is cappuccino or is it this one that is espresso. So it's not that great, right? So, but still, like it's a great start. And then it gave me a monthly sales trend, which I think is amazing, except the fact that in the y-axis, it started at 325,000, which I think is a little bit misleading. We can see here that October seems like the worst month ever, while in reality, we only did 150K less than this best month here, which is in July, right? But, still, great start, right? Let me know what you think about this in the chat. It gave me the total sales per product, total sales per person, and then, it gave me a quarterly sales analysis. I'm a little bit sad because it didn't make any graph on the quarterly sales analysis. It just gave me, raw data like that. And it actually did a really poor year-over-year sales comparison. It told me that our cappuccino had a slight increase and espresso was stable, so I could have used a little bit more numbers here. But still, overall, I think it was cool to have this data in like a few seconds, right? All these charts in like actually 3 seconds. And so I went in and I was like, okay, what else can we do with this, right? I went a little bit deeper and I said, can you show the sales per region? And once again, it gave me another chart. So we have my sales per region here, so we can do an analysis. But once again, it didn't do it year by year. Why? Because my prompt was really bad, and I could have said, can you show the sales per region per year, and then it will give me the right result. So what I said here, I said for which year are the sales per region above, and it told me the sales per region presented above are for both year 2023 and 2024 combined. If you would like a breakdown, I can provide it. So I said yes, please make the yearly breakdown. So that's pretty cool. It did this chart here, which is the 2023 and 2024 by region, which was similar to what we did in Copilot, right? But the only thing that is weird, I think, is like the color scheme. Look at this. So we have yellow here, and then if I go back up, complete different colors. But still, still interesting. If I click here, switch to interactive chart, I almost feel like I'm in Excel right now. If I mouse over, I see the data. So Again, I'm kidding. It's not the same as Excel, but still, it's still cool, right? Interactive a little bit. Gave me some more data here, and what I said here is actually I really had trouble because ChatGPT right now is not really great at exporting data. I said, can you summarize all of this information in an Excel spreadsheet so it makes a dashboard to present to the management team, please? And then it gave me some Excel file, but it didn't quite hit the mark. So as you can see, I gave feedback, and once again, it wasn't, the results were not that conclusive. So what I ended up doing is actually downloading these files, realizing it was not that great. I made a screenshot, of this with the insights it gave me, and I actually made this dashboard here that I think is pretty cool if you're in a rush. You have like 15 minutes before your 15 minutes before your actual presentation and you have nothing ready. I think that's pretty cool. So that's one thing. One other thing I want to introduce you. This is Zebra AI. Okay, I'm partnering with these guys. I'm not here to sell anything, by the way. Just to let you know, I think they have an amazing tool. And Ken, if you haven't tried this, that could be cool that you try it with some of your clients. But Zebra BI, which is the company behind this tool here, Zebra AI, so a Slovenia company, they have a tool where I actually just drag and drop my data. I won't show it live here today because I don't want to advertise the tool or whatever. I just want to show you that it's amazing. And it made these charts here, which actually I think is way better than Copilot and ChatGPT in terms of making insightful sales dashboard with all of the comments and everything. Again, I made a video on this, actually comparing these three dashboards together, and the link will be provided to you by email. So all of this is actually a short version of my longer videos that explain everything. And if you want to learn more, and if you want to be a little bit more curious about that, yeah, that's about it. So yeah, here we go. I have something to tell you. So I talked about a lot about Copilot today. This is my course, Copilot Essentials from AI Beginner to Proficient course. And I want to offer you a discount today for everyone that is on the call right here. You have 7 days starting right now using the Excel code, Excel Guru 35. Excel Guru. It's not a code, it's a coupon code. You have you have 35% discount on all of my courses, and I'm actually going to put the link in the description below. And here we go. And I want to talk a little bit more about this real quick. So if you want to learn AI, if you want to skyrocket your workflow, transform your workflow, this is what I do for a living. I actually try and teach people Microsoft Copilot. And in this course, what you have is I'm going to explain AI. I'm going to make the difference between the free or the pro version. I'm going to teach you the reflex, how you should use AI. I'm going to teach you how to prompt. We talked a little bit about this today, but the subject is a little bit deeper than that. The do's and don'ts of the tools, how to replace the tool, replace Google with the tool because it's a web-based search engine, and then how to draft professional emails, prepare for important meetings, generate sick images for your PowerPoint presentations, summarize videos, summarize PDF in seconds, and also use Copilot on your cell phone, right? Because you have Copilot in your pocket and you can actually use AI at any time. I'll also go through all of these Microsoft 365 apps, how you can use Microsoft in Copilot in PowerPoint, Teams, Excel, Word, summarize meetings in seconds, make sure you don't miss any action items on your meetings, and of course some other applications. And there is a lot of PDF to support your training. So Excel Guru 35 on all of my courses. I have Excel courses as well on my website. And of course, you have a 14-day money-back guarantee. I don't want to sound pushy here. I just want to offer you this discount that will be available for the next 7 days, starting right now to get 35% off. And yeah, here we go. This is my courses right here. And that was it for me today. Feel free to ask any question in the chat. I will answer CWC question in the chat here in a second. And feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'll drop my link here, but it's going to be in the emails that you are going to receive after this call. And let me know in the chat what you thought about this. Did you learn something? Are you still on the edge of using AI? Do you use AI? Do you not like AI? Let me know what you think in the chat. And Ken, if you want to jump in to chat a little bit more, it's up to you.
All right. Well, first off, thanks, David. I appreciate you doing this, and it's great run through of Copilot. If anybody does have questions, please toss them into the chat and ask away. David, I'll tell you one thing. Just because I know you want to make me a lover of AI, but so one of the things you did pick up on this, right? Like, I mean, this tool is really, really good for people who are struggling with how to do things. If you're an expert in something, you're obviously going to be going like, yeah, I just know how to do this faster. And honestly, I mean, that's one of the areas where I kind of look and I'm like, yeah, I can do things faster a lot of the time. And I think probably this is one of the challenges I find with it in a lot of ways is the reason I reached AI is because I've come across something that's hard. And the problem that I'm finding with AI today is when I ask the question for something that's hard, it can't help me. It can do easy things, but I'm finding that more challenging things are more problematic for me. And I hope that changes over time. And we'll see, right? I mean, as the tool gets better, it's very much in its infancy. That may happen, but I'll certainly say that's sort of why I'm not in love with AI yet.
Yeah, you're right.
I think do you want to discuss the question from CWC here together? Because I've got some perspectives on this one as well.
Sure. Let me read that.
So I'll summarize it quickly. It comes down to, I tried asking my questions to Copilot and Excel for working with VBA code, and I got a better answer from ChatGPT. So why is that the case? And I will be completely honest with you. I have noticed this myself. I have actually complained to Microsoft about this myself as well, is that, I had an example where I was trying to go and build a regular expressions pattern to use with some of the new regex functions in Excel. And so I asked Copilot and Excel, hey, can you give me a regex pattern for this? It's a general question. And unfortunately, Copilot and Excel did a very lousy job with that. I went over to ChatGPT and said, can you give me a regex pattern? And it gave me one that almost worked. Now, it almost worked. I still had to go back and tweak it, but the ones that came from Copilot were abysmal compared to what I got from ChatGPT. Having said that, Copilot and Excel, you can say, yes, I like that, and it'll inject the stuff into the workbook. ChatGPT will never do that, because it's not integrated. So they're different tools on different code bases. And one of the things that I will say, I don't anticipate that Copilot and Excel is actually ever going to be as good with VBA as something like ChatGPT, just because I know ChatGPT has hoovered up the entire bit of Reddit and Stack Overflow to get the code there. So
yeah, maybe that's a great point, and I figured out the same thing. Like you saw it, like it's a little bit in preview mode and everything. How I see it is maybe if they do like really a custom GPT, like another like Copilot for VBA or something like that. That then they will probably feed like all these Microsoft expert that will feed like the best database of VBAs. But yeah, you're right. Like I think Copilot and Excel and everything that is in the 365 apps, I feel like it's a more I don't know how to say that, not an echo chamber, but like more securized environment, right? Which will not maybe go everywhere to get his information. But that was Copilot in Excel, right? So you didn't try the same thing like Copilot.microsoft.com, right? It was in Excel.
Believe me, I tried Copilot in Windows, Copilot in Excel, ChatGPT, and I found another Copilot somewhere else. And I actually sent in the results of all of these to Microsoft saying, look how incredibly different they are and how terrible most of them are. And this is one of the things that I find with Excel, and I mean, why has Excel been so successful? Well, it's because it does everything, right? You can fit Excel to make any kind of solution you need in the world, whether you're doing heart surgery, please don't use Excel to track your heart surgery, or whether you're doing finance or whether you're doing like whatever. And where I see AI is going to be really, really useful is where we actually get into targeted AI that's very focused on specific features. The challenge with Excel is that Excel has that need, but it also needs general. And I don't know that they've addressed both. I know they're trying to get spreadsheets working because the data that most large language models is trained on is English text. It's not financial structure the way that we have things here. So I mean, they've got a tough problem on their hands, right? But I
But
also
like when seeing all of these, videos and like all the crazy stuff we saw with AI and like Mid-Journey for image generation, I'm sure they're going to figure out something. I didn't really actually have a look, like I think I saw something like spreadsheet LLM lately,
yeah.
but it was like a little bit, I think it was less of natural language, but spreadsheet LLM. So I don't know if it's going to fix like the more complex problems, if I would call it like that. But yeah, that's a good thing. It doesn't do everything though, because you can still have a job and and train people that needs it, right?
Yeah,
But
fair
yeah,
enough.
it's a mix like between you're a beginner at something like me, by instance, I'm making my own course pages and I'm so bad at marketing and I need help on like how to build a basic landing page. And then the Excel, not Excel, but Copilot and the ChatGPT and all of that can help me being a little bit better at these. So that's how I see it right now. But it's just a start, right? So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, no, and time will. I mean, they will invest more and whatnot. I mean, for those who picked up the term spreadsheet LLM, basically that's a Microsoft research project where they're actually trying to come up with a large language model that works specifically with the two-dimensional data that we have in spreadsheets compared to the text that we're usually used to seeing,
Hmm.
and that's relatively linear. So, the fact that they're doing research projects on that, and Microsoft Research has published a paper, it only tells you that things are going to be coming at some point. So, anyway, but no, it's an interesting tool, and I mean, it's certainly, I think, to people who know a bit will help them out. But
Hmm.
trust but verify is my biggest advice when it comes to AI. Always
Yes,
look at it and make
100%.
sure it works. So. Anyway, I don't see any other questions coming in on the chat here, so I think we'll wrap it up for today. But David, thanks for coming to do this. Great to meet you, and looking forward to meeting you in person in Redmond, hopefully next year. Once again, I really appreciate you putting on the show. Thanks to everyone else for coming and being part of this as well. I will get the recording up in the next 24 to 48 hours, and then at that point, I will post on the Meetup site, so you'll get a notification if you want to go back and watch some of the stuff a little slower and see what's going on. So thanks everyone for coming. Don't forget the next meetups are available for sign up. Hopefully we'll see you at one of those. Cheers. Till next
Thank you,
time.
Ken. Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Bye bye.